Hey everyone, welcome back for another episode of the Patch Rundown. If you haven't already, go check out the patch notes, which you can do by clicking the button somewhere on the screen. Today, we're talking about Deathfire Grass removal and finding out whether or not we really hate assassins. Joining me now is the Nerf Master Sucktown himself, Ryan Morello Scott.
Hello.
And the boy,
Hey.
Voyboy. So guys, thank you for coming out to talk with me. We're talking big picture stuff here, 5.2. It's good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was really happy to be here, and then I read the patch notes, and I went through it, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, but I'll tough
like,
through it.
You're already on the plane. You're just like, can we turn this thing around? I don't even
When's the next return flight?
Just fly Voyboy out and say, here's how we've kicked you specifically in the joint.
Yeah. So you know, we just touched on it. Let's get right into it. Deathfire Grasp is gone, right?
Yep.
It's out of the game. People even thought it was a bug. It came out of nowhere. People who were messaging, people were messaging me. It's like, DFG doesn't seem to be in the store. Can you fix this? I was like, oh, we did fix it. So tell me, why are we getting rid of DFG?
So Deathfire Grasp it's a popular item because it's a lot of fun to push a button and melt a face.
Yeah, dude.
But we thought we had to remove it because the kinds of things that items can do is give you different kinds of power, let you diversify your build, all sorts of stuff. But in this case, it's giving you burst, right?
My power is killing you.
Yeah, but your power's killing you.
Harder.
Tends to be that power is pretty specific on champions, right? Like champions can or can't burst you. Some champions are squishy. Some champions are tanky. Things like that. And this is creating a lot of negative effects on character diversity, and we really want to focus on that right now.
Boy, you've been playing mid lane for quite a while now. How are you feeling about this, the removal of DFG?
Personally, I'm not that salty over it because most of the champions I played, they'll do fine without DFG. DFG got really strong because Athene's got nerfed. So Athene's was like the best mid lane item for a long time. Mm-hmm. And it was so cost efficient. It was just too good. Yeah, it was just too good. It gave you defensive stats against your matchup. Like, why would you not buy an Athene's ever? Yeah, so that got nerfed. Morello was god tier. DFG was really good too because suddenly people didn't have. Actually, you guys nerfed Athene's once and then you made it like even worse. When you guys lowered the MR of it, DFG was better. All these like assassin like burst mages got better because they're doing the magic damage and it's suddenly easier for like a Fizz or an Akali or a Caston or Cinder, Vi or whatever to kill the other guy.
Ryan, you mentioned a little bit about how being able to buy into bursts and opt in isn't really healthy with certain character sets. There are a lot of players out there that are like, what about my AP Tristana? What about my AP Malphite, right? Like, how do we feel about these characters, these kinds of off builds in a world where DFG doesn't exist? You were talking earlier like, oh, we want like diversity in champion choices, right?
Right.
How does that play into this here?
Off builds have been a big topic for a long time because like it's hard. Like, what's your stance on off builds? Do you like them or do you hate them? Is commonly the conversation. Is like the honest answer is way more nuanced than that, right?
The answer is both.
Yeah, exactly.
And neither of them.
Right. And it's a lot of it's because right now we're valuing, and you'll get tired of hearing this.
I'm already tired.
I haven't even heard it yet. I'm already tired of it.
I'm going to sleep.
We really think that character variety is one of the most important things to both preserve and make better in League of Legends is the way you kind of express yourself as your character, the variety you can see in a team comps based on characters, the kind of strategies you can pull off is based on characters. So we're kind of focused pretty hard on that. Now, when you see things like this, that are off builds like that are DFG and are like they're kind of limiting that character variety necessarily, we don't want to support those at the cost of character variety. However, like things like Blue Ezreal or other things like it's a cool different way to play Ezreal probably isn't strangling other dudes out or things like that. Now you have two ways to play Ezreal. Awesome. We want to continue to support that. It's just not the number one value on all the things we can list as a value.
Right. So basically, all you're saying, if your off build is doing something like new or changing the game in some way, then that's cool. If it's just adding some of these things, like you were talking about tankiness and burst, right? So Malphite being an example of a character is that guy, kind of a tank, probably shouldn't be one-shotting people, right? You're overlapping these qualities that probably just shouldn't exist.
Right, and it's like, what if that ever became good? Can you even play a burst guy who's not as tough as Malphite now? Like, those kinds of things, when we used to see that back in the day, did occur. We think, that's cool to be able to play and say, oh, I saw that in my game, but it gets old pretty fast when then that's all you see.
So, Voy, I want to start the next little bit with you. So, DFG, right, was actually bought on a considerable number of mid laners, right? A number of which you've played, right? Like you were pretty big into LeBlanc and Syndra, especially if we're looking at like the playoffs time. But also pretty big on like Katarina, Ahri, Akali, Annie as well. Like, how do you feel about these characters that kind of relied on it and where they're going to be at right now?
So for me, DFG has almost always been a luxury item. It's never been like a core item in my mind on a lot of the champions that I play. Like core items meaning like items that you need to accomplish their kit, and I like a proficient level. So like what DFG usually meant for me was I'd have the opportunity to brutally overkill at least one person.
Just do something really rude.
Yeah, so like I'm like walking around with Annie, got my little stun up. I just like flash on the 80 carry, DFG ult. He's already at like 20%. Like I QW like what am I doing? Like, why am I killing this guy? It's so like he didn't do anything to me.
Yeah.
Why am I trying to kill him? Like I could have
He had so much to live for.
So a lot of times I felt like DFG was not needed to accomplish the champion's main goal. I would say there's certain champions like I'd say Veigar right now, maybe Ahri. Like, well, that was your guys' fault. You kind of built her identity around the charm and the DFG.
No, that's actually important because we're actually kind of like going back on that because we think like sometimes we choose that direction. It kind of flattens her out into, oh hey, here's another bursty character. It's like, well, you can pick lots of those. Like, oh, let's turn her back into the Kite Mage, who's like almost nobody. That's way more unique.
Yeah,
so
everyone,
sorry to interrupt, but I thought that was important.
Everyone makes mistakes. You can go back and fix them. It's all right. We'll forgive you. But I think the champions that really rely on DFG right now will be fine. They'll live on. There's other builds. There's other really good items. Sure, there's gonna be like kind of a difference in play style that you're gonna have to adapt to on a lot of these champions. But I think it's cool that you guys are not just like removing it and be like, all right, like go feed yourselves and like find shelter. You're actually helping the champions live on.
Sending Annie, she's like 9 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
Go on. Find shelter.
Yeah, based on the movie. Based
on the movie.
So we gave Ahri a bunch of movement speed while her orb's out now, so you can do some crazy mobility plays with her, and Annie gets more Tibbers love. Yeah. And we're trying to look at these unique elements of these champions and just really power that up every time we get the opportunity to, especially when compensating for taking something away. And not just like, oh, give them their burst back, here you go kill people just like you were. It's like, no, what makes these champions unique? Why would I bring this champion over this? Why would I bring Annie over Ahri or vice versa? Why would I bring them at all? Like, if we can't answer those questions other than, well, every champion in our game to be good needs 100 to 0 you as a major and assassin, then there's something wrong.
Yeah, so
I think that's cool.
So speaking of taking things 100 to 0, let's talk about assassins. We knew it was going to happen. So I read on the internet that we hate assassins.
I read that too.
Can you confirm?
I can confirm that we do not hate assassins.
Whoa.
Oh, see what I just did there?
Oh my God.
No one ever thought that would happen. Yeah.
No, it's we don't hate assassins. Actually, I think assassins are one important part of like the ecosystem of what can be part of your team comp. But not only that, assassins are pretty fun to play and can add some interesting dynamics if done right.
Yeah.
The problem is historically we made assassins that just kind of like are really quick killers that don't have a lot of telegraphing or a lot of interaction behind their assassination patterns. And while those are fun to play as, those do cause a lot of problems. We want you to be able to have to outfight your opponent in real time in a lot of cases, right? So a lot of the assassin changes we'll want to be pushing towards when we do change assassins, and you've seen some of this in the past and more in the future, is making these assassins more interactive, more abilities for you to respond to them as the victim, and more opportunities for outplays and kind of interesting things to happen in that process, right?
Yeah, what's interesting is that a lot of these assassins that, from my perspective, kind of more recently started to become problems. There was a long stretch of time where they were just like chilling. They'd be like, you pick it, and people like in your games would call you a troll, and when you're streaming, they'd be like, oh my God, he's doing the thing, like
it's the Akali legend himself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now people like the champions have kind of become mainstream, and it's like, oh, okay, you're picking Katarina, like what did we do to you? Like, come on, man, like come on.
So the last thing that I want to mention here, kind of a big one. I think a lot of the driving force behind people being very sad about assassin nerfs or DFG's removal is the fear of the, quote, farm laners returning, right? So Orianna, the Xerath, the Ziggs, right? And it feels like we just saw them, right? We feel like we would see them and they would get picked and they would stall out games, they would shove out lanes forever, wave clear. Are we trying to bring those guys back? What's happening?
There's no intent to bring those guys back. Like, it's not like we're trying to like kick out the current tenants and then, okay, Ziggs, pack up, like, put your tent down and set up camp, dude. Like, that's not what we're trying to do. And if they do become dominant to the same degree, it's no different of a problem. It's some different details on it. These guys don't have the right interaction, right? They just sit back and farm. They don't create the right kind of gameplay, and they would limit character variety if they were the guys who were just kind of in there setting up shop. We'd have to treat them with the same standard we treat assassins here. We have to take a look at them and reform them or take them down a notch to make sure that there's good character variety and different ways to play.
Yeah, so is the boy worried about the farm laners? What's happening?
I mean, if I had a time machine to go back to any point in my career, I probably wouldn't choose the point where people were just wave clearing and face trolling mid lane.
Yeah.
But I think the game as a whole has been pretty balanced for the past few months. I actually liked a lot of the champion diversity we were seeing at Worlds, and even now, like, there's a lot of options. I think these nerfs and like these kind of wide sweeping assassin changes are obviously going to kind of disrupt the balance. And I haven't played on the new patches yet. No one has. We don't know what's going to be strong. We don't know who's going to make a comeback. But kind of the way League of Legends is there's always been like different metas. It's not about mastering one champion. It's not about mastering Kali or Ahri or something like that and becoming the best at that and winning Worlds or something like that. You gotta be playing a wide variety of champions. You gotta be able to adapt to different play styles, different changes. It's just a fluid game, and you gotta be able to keep up.
Guys, thank you for coming on the show to talk with me about all of the amazing things and all the ways in which we do not hate assassins. For all of you at home, thank you. That's it for Patch Rundown 5.2. For myself, Ryan, Voy, and the entire crew.
See ya, nerds.